I'm Eric Philpott. I'm the writer and director on Dresden 1957. 1 week ago, we started our crowdfunding campaign with our goal of $78,000, which will allow us to complete filming this summer. So 1 week later, we have 59 supporters, 70 followers. We have raised $45,758, which is 58% of our goal. That's an incredible start to this campaign. I want to thank everybody, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. I want to thank people in groups. I'll talk about people who contributed who are kind of closer to the story, like family members of people in this story. I want to thank former colleagues of mine. I want to thank people who are teachers and colleagues from when I was a student, and of course, my own personal friends and family I would like to thank. But I want to start with one group that is, I think, quite important. And these are people that I didn't know before this started. People who have no relationship to me or the specifics of the story, but they care about this story. And I think that's really special, those contributors. So the first contributor to thank is Harold Kleiwecht. In Dutch, I think it would be Kleiwecht. Harold Kleiwecht, maybe. And Harold reached out when he, I think, read an article about the film project we were doing. And I talked to him on the phone. He's got a Dutch background, so he can relate to that part of the story. But he's also an engineer, and he experienced a workplace tragedy himself working out west. And I was really struck by how much he felt connected to this. And Harold was actually one of the very first people to contribute to this project. So thank you very much, Harold, for your support. Next, Jack and Anna Hovius, who think, and I believe they may have confirmed now, that they are in fact distant cousins of the Hovius family, who was one of the central families in the story in this film. Thank you to Tracy Lavelle, Rand Costal, Jenny Riley, who I think I've written twice, Steve Bolton, and thank you, Steve, also for your advice and help. Steve and I have met. He was the former CEO of Libro Credit Union in London, and has been very helpful in giving a lot of good advice as well. Thank you to Kathy Hiscott, Judith Palmer, Judith Palmer, Rose Anderson, Steve Patel, and then a few people who prefer to be anonymous. I will identify them by initials only. Thank you, MD, who may or may not have a thick Scottish accent. Thank you very much, MLW, for your generous contribution. Thank you, T. McC. Again, I'm grateful for your support. I've never met you, I don't think, and it really means a lot to have people like you step forward and join in helping making this film. Thank you to RC and RD. Those are the people that I don't think I know, and I'm thanking. The next group I'm going to thank are people who are connected to this story, so family members of people in the film. The first one is Eric Hovius. Eric's grandfather and uncle were two of the victims who died in the Dresden tragedy. Eric is the very first person I ever spoke to, and it was through him, once he got to know me and was willing to trust me, I guess, with this very sensitive topic, of course. Eric is the one who then introduced me to his family and some of the other families. So through Eric, this film actually got its start. So thank you for that, Eric, and thank you very much for your generous support of the film project. Thank you to Laura Tufford. Thank you to Anonymous GVL and Anonymous AVL. Both of you, thank you for your very generous support. Thank you to Anne Vanderlaan. To Julie and Jim Nickel, thank you so much. To Anonymous PT and Anonymous EP, which is my initials as well. But thank you very much, Anonymous EP, because when I first heard what you might be contributing, I think a zero was missing because it was quite a bit bigger than I had thought. I want to say how much I appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you, of course, to Sarah Taylor, and I do look forward to speaking to you soon or meeting you this summer. Thank you to TM, to Nancy Taylor, to John and Doreen Drent, and to Anonymous LD. All of these people that I said are, as I mentioned related in some way to the people in the story in this film, and I'm very grateful for their support. Continuing, I now want to thank a few of my former Adobe colleagues. First one out of the gate, Carl Soule. Thank you so much, Carl, for your support. It means a lot to me. Thank you, Duran Gleaves. Duran, I miss you. I love you. Thank you so much for helping out. Thank you to Shara Morishige. I miss you, Shara, and always appreciate speaking with you when we get a chance. Hope you're well, and all. Yeah, thank you. Thank you to Gina Baldessari for coming out of the blue with a really generous contribution. Thank you, Gina. I really appreciate it. And of course, thank you so much, Francis Crossman. Miss you so much. Can't wait to speak again. So thank you to those colleagues of mine at Adobe. And also thank you, colleagues, for your continued work on Premiere Pro, which we're using every day on this film. It's going great. And it really is fun to be on the other side, on the user side of the fence. Thank you. Now I'm going to talk about people who are either former students or former colleagues, because I used to be a teacher before my days in film and broadcast and Adobe and all that. So first of all, vielen Dank, Sebastian Altemüller. Thank you, Sebastian. I really appreciate your support. And for noticing my age in the gift, I'm very grateful for that too. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Thank you, Mr. A, my English teacher, not only for your contribution and for being such a great guy. Thank you also for putting up with me when I was a teenager. I appreciate it. And Mr. A, you are an important, by the way, the name is Duncan Alderson, published novelist. And I want to say this about Duncan. He told us when he was our teacher way, way long ago that he had at the time an unpublished novel he was working on, but he was going to publish a novel. And I appreciate that example and that inspiration. And that has given me courage to say, I'm going to make a film. So Duncan Alderson, published author, please read his books. And thank you, Mr. A, so much. Thank you, Elizabeth Yetman, who has been a colleague, has a longtime friend of my mother, and also was one of my teachers when I was a kid. So thank you for your support today. Thank you for being a great colleague and friend of our family. And thank you very much for putting up with me when I was a kid. I do appreciate it. And I know it wasn't easy. Thank you to Alessandro Tersini. And I'm not quite sure which Tersini it is, but I believe you're part of the Tersinis that I know from the Toronto Waldorf School. Thank you, Sarah Gladney and Robert McCluggage. Thank you, Mark Levine. I appreciate it. If I get any craniosacral, I'll be in touch if I need anything here. Thank you so much, Patty Wolf and Bob Pickering. Really appreciate you stepping in and helping out in this project, and nice to see your names on this list. And thank you, Mary Willow, both for supporting this project and for having a fantastic son, Joe Crawford, my right-hand man on this project. Thank you, Mary. Thank you to anonymous student JM. Thank you also, JM, for pointing out your boss to me. That could be very helpful. Appreciate that. And thank you also, anonymous fellow student from when I was a kid, AP. Very much appreciated, AP. Thank you. All right, and now we move on to the group, the last group, my friends and family. Thank you, NAB. Scott did this on your behalf, but I know you wanted to do it anyway, but thank you, Annie. Thank you, Ahmed, world's best son-in-law. Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. I'm not sure where, but I know you're part of the family. Thank you, Aya, Jenna, and Medina. Thank you so much, girls. I love it. So thank you so much for supporting this project. Thank you, Anonymous AN. And thank you, Karine Bevelander Kroon, my cousin. Thank you, Karine, for your support. Really appreciate it. Thank you to Darren Bosch. Thank you, Darren. Thank you to my sister, Wendy, and brother-in-law, Andy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan Bortolotti. Appreciate your friendship and your support of this project very much. Thank you, Mike Russell. Mike Russell is a real audio expert and now is an AI expert as well. And if you're interested in AI and you're working in creative stuff, check out Mike's work. But Mike Russell also did some voiceover recordings of my dad's diary extracts. So if you watch the trailer for our pitch crowdfunding campaign, you'll hear Mike Russell voicing Keith Philpott, a little passage of Keith Philpott's diary. Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it. Thank you also now to an anonymous daughter of mine, AP. Thank you to my uncle, Frank Willem. Thank you, Frank Willem and Marianne. Thank you to another anonymous daughter of mine. I don't know. F.A., my daughter F.A. Thank you, daughter. And thank you so much, Jason Tenter. I'm thrilled to see you there. And we're going to send you a little shout out also in dedication to your father, who I know you lost this year. So we're thinking of you. Thank you, Jason. And finally on this list, somebody who gives and is truly a friend to all. Thank you, Paul Clement English. I never see Clement. I just see the C sometimes. But thank you, Paul. Very grateful for your support and your friendship. So that is week 1. We've done incredibly well. I'm incredibly grateful to everyone for all of your support. We've received a lot of support from family members who are close to this project, and I'm very grateful for that. That's very important. And I'm really hoping that we're also going to be able to kind of get that kind of support from people a little further away from the film, so that, we're kind of sharing the burden with those to whom this story understandably matters the most. This is the story of 6 men who lost their lives in an accident that should never have happened. It is an accident that was not perhaps entirely dealt with at the time and was very sadly, very quickly forgotten. So it is understandable that family and friends of those men feel very strongly that this story needs to be told, and it's understandable, and I'm very grateful for that level of support they've given. But I'm hoping we'll find some bigger contributors also outside. Some of these have started to step forward. Let's spread this so that those families see that other people care about this story too. So let's see what we can do in week 2. Our next goal is to hit 80%. At the point of 80%, we will get the funds. So right now when you contribute, what you're making is a pledge. If the campaign reaches at least 80%, the pledges will be collected. If they didn't reach 80%, nothing gets collected. It wasn't a success. So 80% out of our goal of $78,000, 80% is $62,400. That is our magic number. I believe we could hit that this week, but it will take effort. So please, thank you to those who've contributed. To those who would like to still contribute, please do so. Thank you. And spread the word to people who might be able to help. Thank you very much.